Hello and welcome back, my name's Sullosian and this is a new video in Skywanderers. So this is just a video straight up after the previous video, or the day after actually, and I just wanted to go into depth on some of the new features in the new dev blog. So it's the new update available on the experimental branch, so anyone who's got the game should hopefully know about the experimental branch. That's where you gain access to the new update straight away before they've been bug tested and all that sort of stuff. So this more or less is the experimental branch, so everything will be buggy and broken, which I'll actually show you some of the things which you can see over there, the red, that's not meant to be red. So we'll just go into the features and I'll try and run you through some more of the plans for the ship, and I'll just show you some of the overall features of the update and how to use some of the things. So we'll just come back here and evidently the update, if you've seen the dev blog, which will be linked in the description if you haven't already, I do recommend watching it. Basically, it had me quite worried just overall. In previous games, whenever they've changed something or they've edited a feature in the game, basically they've always had to like remove it and then re-add it, so anything that was in the world previously would get deleted or something, and that was just a real worry because every single ship that people make basically has a one of these, if I can find it, there it is, one of these hotkey links. Now originally there was 7 different versions, hotkey 1, 2, 3 and 4 for the numbers 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then they also had the middle mouse and left and right click hotkey buttons, so you could assign different actions to different sort of keys preset in their config. So basically what this meant was when they redid the hotkey system, or Tsuna, when he did the hotkey system again, I was worried that it was going to get rid of them all and I'd have to replace them all, but it actually kept basically all the settings. All I ended up doing was having to name them, just so that way I could tell which ones do which, and then I could also colour them with some paint as well. So I'll just go into them so that way you can actually see what it's like. So straight off the bat you actually just place it down like a normal one, and then you hold middle mouse button to open up the config wheel, and then you go to the top button up the top there, which is configure hotkey command, and that's how you get into the whole hotkey command config. And this is the landing gear. So basically he seems to have added one option, which is landing gear. This is for the future development of AI in the game. Basically AI will be in the game eventually, and in order to fly the ship they can't just have hotkeys bound to whatever keys you want them to. They will need to have specific keys to do specific things. By having a landing gear hotkey command means that the AI will automatically know to deploy landing gear. All they have to do is activate sequence in the code, deploy landing gear, and therefore the AI will then be able to use the landing gear. So the keybind is pretty simple to set. You just set it to either 1, 2, 3 or 4, left click, right click, or the landing gear option, which is L when you're actually in the ship. So I've got landing gear, I've labelled it as landing gear. You don't have to label it that, you can label it whatever you want. But you can also link it to the spaceship core to save you from having to use any of the dual link and quad link gates, so these ones here. Originally you would have to get these and then drag that into one of the inputs or something or other, and it was just a big tedious line of connecting wires and all that, but now you can just sort of connect it straight to there. But because I already had all these connections set up, I didn't have to worry about resetting all that, but it does mean you can make some logic a bit more compact now. So hopefully all that makes sense, and hopefully you guys get the general idea for that. There was a turret system update which I haven't actually explored very much, so unfortunately I won't be able to go too much into depth about the turret system update. That will probably be for another video, because I imagine there will be a little bit more content for me to show there as well. But straight off the bat, one thing you will know is notice that the engines no longer glow constantly, which is a real problem, especially when you're like just holding them in your hand. They're bright and they're a nuisance to look at. But now, when you've actually got them placed down on the ship, you can actually build them and you don't have to worry about getting blinded constantly. It's just such a big step up, and I'm really glad that you did that, because overall it just adds to the whole gameplay experience and feel as well. You can actually tell when someone's just sitting there in their ship and it's not powered, they're not doing anything. But the moment they get into their ship, which just getting to see, and then we'll go into F4, and then when I enter the ship, the engines start lighting up and glowing, and it's really awesome. So let's see if I can just, when I exit it, just like that, you can see that they slowly go out like that. So that's all very cool, very like happy, and overall just joyed with that, I guess, best way to put it. But I guess what I might do is we might just go for a little bit of a fly in the spaceship, and we'll have a look around the actual larger spaceship before coming back to the bridge here, and I'll have a demonstration for that larger scaled ship. So we need to get out of tab mode there. We'll raise the landing gear with L, and then we should be good to go. We will just raise the ship up with maneuvering. And another feature you might have noticed is that you can actually colour the spaceship core now, and change the actual heads-up display. So normally it's not meant to be the blue colour that it is, but you can colour it whatever colour you want now, which is really awesome. So we'll just go for a bit of a spin. We'll put the throttle up a little bit, and we'll go for a spin in the spaceship. So also, I don't know if this was already in the game, but there's actually sound effects for the engines now. It seems the faster you're going, and as you pick up speed and actually start moving, the engines start making an actual engine noise, which is pretty cool. Just a nice little feature he's added, I guess, but it could have been there, I just didn't notice it. There's the trails, which are oh so awesome. But we'll actually just fly around the ship here. So I've started putting some panels in, and I'll actually get to that in a moment, just why I'll actually have to redo some of those, because basically there's a bunch of different blocks in the game, and one of them basically wasn't used by any people because it was pretty ugly and never used. So I think the rumour was that it was getting removed from the game, so I asked about it, and someone's said to me that yeah, they're going to get rid of the block or revamp it or something, so it's better if I just don't use it at all, because otherwise it could have dire consequences for the actual builds I'm using it on. So let's fly around here. We can prove that the guns still work with the new hotkey system, and then we'll go back to the bridge, and then we'll fly around the ship a little bit, and I will show you. Oops. Okay, I'm not the best pilot. And that landing gear out. I don't know. I'm not the best pilot at the moment with the new controls that I've been trying to get used to. Okay. Anyway. Exit that. Open the canopy. And exit that. I actually didn't mean to fly into this, but basically this is just a hologram I thought I'd show you guys, just to give you guys a bit of a holographic look at things. I'll just realign with the ship. Also, I don't know if you guys noticed the name of the title of the previous video. Basically, I've decided to name the ship the Hammer, basically because the ship was designed after the Thor Class vessel, and Thor being known for his hammer, I decided to call the Thor Class vessel the Hammer. So I figured that's a pretty fitting name, and overall I think it works with it. But yeah, hologram. As you can see there, the engines are actually spinning, but we'll actually just go into the ship here. So feature with mirror blocks, you can now disable them. You may not realise this if you don't have the game, but it's actually a massive feature. Just being able to disable that means you don't have to break it and replace it and do all that all the time. If you can just disable it and re-enable it, it makes things so much easier. It's already been a bit of help for me this morning. So also the ship core, we've got orange there. If I actually, never linked this up with the ship core actually. So if I actually go into that, it's orange there. If I paint it yellow, you'll see that it's now yellow. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's awesome. You can just sort of change the way it all looks and all that, which is nice. Well, we'll just have a look at all this now. So we've got the general control of the ship, we've got some generator blocks just there for decoration, then we've got the technical readout. So I actually forgot how to do this until I rewatched the dev video of the new power system. You just link up a screen to one of these identity blocks, and you end up getting the readout for the ship and the power systems and the balance and all that. So we'll just lower our speed a bit here. But basically you can see everything as it is now, but as soon as I get into the ship, it'll actually change a bit. So actually, let's have a look now. So it's got a balance of 4%. So that's for heat balance, that is, anyway. I'll have to mess around with it more to actually get a proper understanding of it, but basically that balance is going to change a lot by the time the ship is done, because there is no paneling on it, there's no interior except for all that, and the amount of time that interior took over there, the rest of the ship's going to take a while to do. But overall, you're going to need a lot of generators and a lot of paneling and overall just a lot of everything to balance the ship and get it all done properly. So before we actually jump into that, I'll just come back here, let you have a look. This is basically this colour scheme I'm going for, not so much the white on the edges, that will be a black, but it's going to be a mix of dark grey and black. And I'll go over this block here now. This is basically the modern hull block. So modern hull looks like that by standard, and basically no one ever liked the way it looked. It looks pretty shoddy. I think it looks okay when it's used in massive amounts. This is the first time I've ever used it actually, but it looks pretty good. It's a connected texture and it looks like a smooth, shiny surface, which is basically what I was actually going for. So it actually works really well with this. Whereas any of the other blocks, so say the tiled hull, you can use those, but they don't connect up and it ends up being tiled, so you don't actually get quite the shiny effect you're after. So what I've decided I will end up doing is I'll probably start replacing some of this standard hull here and start replacing it with the basic hull. Basically it adds more of an industrial and ship look to it, which I guess is going to be good. And then for the actual shiny parts, that there, which I will be replacing with the standard hull. So it's going to be a bit of a mess around and a bit tedious to do that, but in the end it's going to be safer, because using that modern hull, it's going to be dangerous if they do end up getting rid of it, because then the block's just going to be gone. So that's just planning ahead for the future anyway. This is actually just a new bug that's been happening in the new version. Don't know how recent it is, if it's been frequent or if it's just new. Basically I've been using the custom color 1, which by default is red, which is why items appear red on my hotbar, but when you actually paint with it, it comes out the color that you want it to come out as. And it seems that if you use it too much, then it glitches out the chunk that it's in and basically changes custom color back to its default color instead of the one that you set the custom color to. Hopefully that makes sense for you guys, and hopefully you realize that it's just a bug and it's not going to be like that forever. So yeah, that's just that. I'm plating and all that. Just sort of been working on the overall pillars back here. Haven't decided whether I want orange or blue glow on the actual pillars and the overall ship, but we'll see how they both look. I might do one orange, one blue, and then see how they look next to each other, see which one looks better. Could even do orange on the bottom, blue on the top, a bit like Portal sort of styled colours. I don't know, we'll have to see. I don't know if you guys saw the engine in the last video, but basically this is what they look like now. This is when they're all turned off, so hopefully they look pretty good when they're turned on. But also, just another bug that's happened. I loaded it into the world and I came back to the back of the ship, and it looks like maybe one of the chunks of that engine there has actually teleported and moved itself over here to the middle. So it's actually not something I've built, it's just sort of the chunk of something, and it's just sort of made its way through the entire ship. So you can see it going through here, and then if we go into the main corridor, it's in the corridor as well. I don't understand why it's here, how it got here, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a pain in the ass to get rid of. And I don't really know where it came from. I'm thinking it came from this engine down here, because the rest of them all look complete when they're spinning. So yeah, I'm presuming it came from this one here, so I'll just have to fix that engine up, I guess. Okay, yeah, it's a bit hard to see all this at the moment because it is quite dark, but we will now give flying the ship a little go. So I'm down here, jump in our lounge style chair, and we'll actually just zoom in. So now that we're actually in it, oops, we'll just I just wanted to have a look at them turn on. A bit of a nice glow there, which is pretty nice. Orange glow, I'm not sure if that's the colour I want either, but you know, it works for the moment. So we'll actually just put the speed up. No idea how fast this thing goes, but we'll put the throttle up to 100. And basically it looks like it's pretty slow. Going up by about 2 meters per second roughly. Yeah, around about that. But as you can see there, it makes a pretty cool glow, all those engines spinning, which looks like a serious bit of heat just going off those engines. Hope you like that. I think it's pretty awesome anyway. So I've actually got yellow in the middle to make it look hotter in the middle, and then orange on the outsides. So just shows that using a mix of different colours and having them spin really does change the way the trails work and how they look and all that. It's really quite awesome what you can do with them. So I guess that's how a lot of people are actually building their ships now, just judging by what the trails will do when they're on the move. But hopefully you like that. I wish they weren't quite as long as they were on this ship, but I guess if you're moving slower it will look shorter. So actually just lower our throttle down a bit to back down to 9 or so. And hopefully we should see them reduce in size a little bit. So that's the sort of level of glow, maybe a little bit more than that. Just all the time basically. I want a nice little bit of trail off them and heat, but not ridiculous amounts like we've got there. But I guess it's all personal preference. So I'll actually just go over the bridge now. So I'm actually thinking of working on the bridge first. I'll get the arm plating and all that sort of done just on the overall top of the ship, and then maybe get some of those hangars done. But I would ideally like to start getting the bridge done because it's actually quite a massive room, and I would like to experiment for quite a while just on the overall windows and the viewing area and all that sort of stuff. I think it will be a pretty awesome bridge though. Like, look at the size of it. It's just going to be massive panoptic windows, I guess is the best word to put it. Panoramic windows, that's probably the best word. And it will just be overall pretty awesome in my opinion. So if you got any questions about the new update, make sure you let me know, and I'll do my best to show in depth just basically what everything's like, because not everyone has access to the game yet. There's not many people doing videos of it either, so it's a bit hard to see what it's actually like just in the game if you're playing it. So yeah, if you want to know anything, just let me know. Any tips, suggestions, ideas, just let me know those too, and I guess I'll see you in the next video.